Declutter Queen with Avery Kundle.
Today, we're diving into one of the most clutter-prone spaces in any home, the kitchen. If you've ever opened a kitchen drawer and been greeted by a tangle of utensils, or even fought for counter space between the air fryer, blender, and coffee machine, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. Decluttering small appliances, cutlery, plates, and all those just-in-case kitchen items that might be doing more harm than good. So let's start with a vision, because we all have one and they could be different. What do you want your kitchen to feel like? Is function the most important thing for you? Maybe it's calm. Maybe you want a kitchen that's super easy to clean. The vision that you have will help you make decisions as you go. So, for example, if a functional kitchen is what you want, you might not be fussed by hanging pans or pots from the ceiling or having them on open shelves in your kitchen. Easy, functional, everything at the grab. If calm is your idea, you might want things put away more. You might want to have clean, clear countertops. And if easy to clean, well, who doesn't want an easy to clean kitchen? So I digress. If your goal is clear counters, then you may not want to have 20 small appliances lined up on your countertop. And if you do, you might have to assess, should that lone waffle maker from 2018 not make the cut? Maybe. If you use, love, and enjoy having multiple appliances, account for this in your declutter. So let's get into it. Let's talk about small appliances, which ironically can be the biggest space hogs. Go on that scavenger hunt in your kitchen, pantries, drawers, cupboards, and find and locate each and every one of your small appliances. Lay them out, and let's talk. Some questions you may want to ask yourself. When was the last time I used it? Do I love using it, or is it a pain to clean and store? Could another item do the same job? Okay, so here is the scoop, and this may sound similar to the advice I doled out when it came to getting rid of outerwear. If you haven't used it in over a year, it's a strong candidate to get rid of. Also, if it only does one thing, like a hot dog bun toaster, yes, they exist, ask yourself if it's really earning its place in your kitchen. Another thing to remember is we often don't need to have redundant appliances. So I just recently learned that when you have a KitchenAid Mixmaster, there's attachments that you can buy. So if you want to get a pasta maker, for example, or I think there's several and I'm not sure exactly for what, but I know that you can attach it to an already existing small appliance. So this would mean you wouldn't need another pasta maker, etc., etc. So if you have several things that do the same thing, you can get rid of some of these. You don't need to have 2 pasta makers. And look, we all fall prey to buying small appliances that we may not necessarily have needed. I like to call these impulse buys. Through the years, I admit to buying the perfect pancake maker. Don't judge me. It was cute, but unnecessary. A waffle iron. Yep, I bought one of those. I think we used it once. And a sandwich press. I may have used that 0 times. However, I don't feel too badly, as these were generally inexpensive and not super wasteful. But at some point I asked the question, when and how am I getting rid of these? And I did. I donated them. I think I even gave one of them or 2 of them to a family member, and they can use them. Or if they're finding they don't, they can get rid of them on their own. Next up, we've got cutlery and utensils. And these tend to multiply when we're not looking. I recently discovered that teaspoons just go missing. Where do they go? But I digress. The first step is to empty all the drawers or location where your cutlery and utensils are housed. You can wipe all that out too. I always say an empty drawer or shelf is an opportunity for cleaning. Once everything is out, sort. So put spoons with spoons, tongs with tongs, scissors with scissors, and so on. Now, sort through and look. So pick your favorites, the knife you reach for daily, the spatula that actually works, the good scissors. And while I say the good scissors, let me propose that you may likely have some bad scissors. And I don't know why we keep the bad scissors, but we do. Maybe now's the time to get rid of the bad scissors, just saying. When you rehouse everything with hopefully some things that you've gotten rid of, put things that I like to call heavy rotation use most conveniently located so you can get them easily. Stuff that you don't use as often, put at the back. Doesn't matter if they're less in your face because you don't need them as often. Okay, question for the audience. Do you have a just-in-case drawer full of old, dull knives or random utensils you never use? Say goodbye. They're stealing space from the things you do use every day. Don't be afraid to get rid of stuff. I do it all the time. Now, let's move to plates, bowls, and glassware. So when we're assessing our dishes, you may want to ask yourself how many people you regularly feed. Sure, add in a few extras for visitors and emergencies. This is how many dishes you need. So if you have 4 people in the house, maybe let's add another 4. You just need 8 plates. If you have 5 sets of plates, store some or get rid of some. You don't need that many. And if you want to keep them for that one time a year you have a garden party, great. Store them out of your kitchen so they're not taking up all the space. Now let's move on to what do I do with the stuff I'm ready to get rid of? And even still, what can I get rid of? How do I even know how to sort through and decide? I'll give you some tips. Mismatched mugs you never use. You can get rid of those. Plates with chips or cracks, garbage. Glasses that come flying out at you every day and you've got too many, they don't stack well, you don't have space, and you've got way too many, get rid of some. If you're always waiting for the dishwasher to fill before running it, you probably have too many dishes. Less dishes can make life easier. So at this point, you may have a pile of maybe or no items. What's next? Well, it's time to donate. Small appliances, any other small kitchen items, dishes, cups, mugs, utensils, anything that is in good working order, you can donate. You may want to try and sell things that you perceive having some value. Now, often they don't, but if you have something antique that you really think can fetch $1 or $2 or high-end kitchen tools, try and sell them, and then you can always go the donation route after. And last but not least, broken, chipped, rusted, all those things get donated. And I'll tell you, put these items in your car immediately or schedule a donation pickup because there's nothing worse than going through this declutter and then having boxes of donation stuff sitting in your garage or sitting by your back door for weeks on end. Not the point. And actually, makes the declutter process not feel good because now you've created a whole other problem for yourself. Get rid of them as quick as possible, and you'll feel much better about it. And finally, how do we maintain the magic? So, decluttering isn't a one-time thing. It's a mindset shift. Create a one-in, one-out rule. So, it's not realistic to think you're never going to buy anything again, but if you do buy a new pan, an old one goes out. You don't have to have stacks and stacks of pans. Get rid of some. Buy some new ones. Another thing you can try is to label your drawers or bins. So keep everything like where it belongs and be able to know it's there. I like to do a seasonal check-in. So every 3 to 6 months, glance through your kitchen to see what's creeping back in and where do I have to address some decluttering. And there you have it, your roadmap, or what I hope is your roadmap, to a calmer, more functional kitchen. Start with a drawer, one counter, one shelf. Remember, progress builds momentum. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend or even leave a review. It helps this little podcast reach more people who are ready to reclaim their space. Remember, a peaceful kitchen is just a few decisions away.
And now, the Queen responds to your silly little questions. Where do I start?
Well, I love this question. The first thing you want to do is start in a place that gives you quick wins. This will build momentum and will reduce the overwhelm. So, what do I mean by this? Best starting points for the tasks are a small, self-contained area. For example, a single drawer, a bathroom counter, or an entryway table. Another place might be the area that frustrates you the most daily. So I was speaking to somebody the other day and they were discussing how their front little table when they walk in is a disaster, full of bills and paper and keys and what have you. That might be your choice. Another place to start is a category of items that's easy for you. For example, old paperwork. You might have piles of mail somewhere. Expired products. So you're in the fridge and you see, oh, I got to go through these things. So that's an easy, quick fix because you know it has to get done and it's bothering you. What I would avoid is starting with sentimental items, large storage areas, or whole rooms, because those jobs require way more emotional energy. When we're getting into that nitty-gritty pictures from your past or memorabilia, you want to leave that for later. So that's my best answer, where to start on your journey.
How do I stay motivated?
Motivation comes from a mix of reward, clarity, and visible progress. So these are the things you want to lean into when you are looking for that motivation to keep going. And again, I had a friend of mine send me a video of her organized Tupperware drawer. That's her motivation when she can see, oh, look at how much better this is. So what I would suggest is set a timer for 10 to 20 minutes so the task feels manageable. You're giving yourself a set amount of time. Take before and after photos. This is a huge morale boost when you can see literally in front of you the progress happening. You might even want to create a declutter playlist or a podcast routine. So been meaning to listen to a certain group of artists, let that be your motivation. Or, oh, I really want to get into this podcast. That'll be your routine and sort of reward. I get to listen to my favorite content and I'm also going to declutter. Use the one bag method. So one bag, whether it's donation, whether it's garbage, whether it's recycling, 1 bag out of your home per session. And also, maybe it seems obvious, but celebrate the small wins instead of waiting until everything is done. I always say, there's always going to be a to-do list, so there's no end to jobs. Celebrate the little milestones you create. 1 drawer, 1 table, 1 counter.
Thanks for listening to The Declutter Queen with Avery Kundle. For more decluttering tips and tricks, go to thedeclutterqueen.ca.
Produced and distributed by the Sound Off Media Company.